Controversial hot take. Stop planning your trip to Bali. Not everybody who sees this video needs to see it, but if just one person watches this and changes the way that they approach a trip to Bali, my job here is done. Let's go for a walk and talk about it. The internet has ruined travel. Ruined it, I tell you. I'm Gen X, a 70s, 80s, 90s kid, and somehow, without the internet, without mobile phones, this generation managed to travel the world. How did they do it? If you're a millennial or a Gen Z, listen up. Let's go. Let's start with me saying the internet has ruined travel. It actually gets worse. I'll get onto that in a moment. Without the internet, some people used guidebooks. Some people, like me, worked on the theory that if everybody else has got a guidebook, I'll just ask to borrow theirs if I really need it. But to be honest, my approach to finding out what to do once I got to a place was either taxi drivers or barmen. Both of those people speak to a lot of people and they know what's going on. Now, instead of guidebooks and talking to humans, people use the internet. So convenient, right there in your hand. That's how people decide, where am I going next? What am I doing there? But here's the catch. So much of that information that shows up in the first page of Google search results is just regurgitated snake eating its tail content, because during the 2000s and 10s, there was an explosion in blogger content, travel content, people writing about top 10 things to do in place X. But people are lazy, and sometimes these bloggers are spending 24 hours in Paris, and then they write their blog, top 10 things to do in Paris. How did they find out what to do in Paris? They read a top 10 blog. And so the same stuff keeps coming up over and over again. What does that mean happens? It means that's where everybody goes. You go there, it's crawling with tourists, and you don't get a local experience at all. Hello, boo. But now it's even worse with the advent of AI and people using AI to plan their itineraries. Whenever you use any chat-based AI, in the fine print it says, artificial intelligence makes mistakes. It sure does. I spend time hanging out on Reddit forums, trying to be helpful, answering people's questions about places that they're traveling to, based on my first-hand experience. And the one thing I notice over and over again is everybody is over-planning. What does that look like? Well, if they've used AI to create their itinerary, 7 days in Bali. First of all, that part where AI makes mistakes, AI will plan your day and say, start off in cultural Woodward, then visit the fishing villages of Ahmed and finish off with a sunset cocktail at a beach club in Canggu. AI really just cannot connect the dots properly. It's just pulling stuff together at random, putting it in an order. And if you haven't been to a place before and you don't know the actual lay of the land on the ground, you're gonna come unstuck. By the way, if you're new to the channel and you're wondering, who is this ranting man? Hello, I'm Ben. I get off the tourist trail, you get to come along, and together we get to see things that a whole lot of people miss out on. Now, let's talk about that over-planning. For some reason, and look, I'm basing this on the online chatter, social media, and online forums. There seems to be an obsession with filling every waking moment of every day with stuff. Seems that in most people's itinerary, there isn't a gap for gonna wing it on this day, gonna see how I feel, gonna do nothing on this day. What a concept for a holiday. And consequently, People's itineraries are jam-packed, and I swear they're going to need a holiday when they get home from their holiday, because what it has been, and particularly in a Bali context where if you haven't been here before, people just don't get that a 21-kilometer ride could take you 2 hours depending on the traffic. With all of that planning and all of that stuffing every moment with something, you're not giving yourself the opportunity to just have magical moments. Hello. Hello, Pak. Boleh saya merekam video? Halo. Nama saya Ben. Ben. Tinggal di sini. And kerja di sini. Yeah. Sendiri. Sendiri. Jalan-jalan, eksplorasi. Belajar kultur lokal, ya bertemu orang-orang.
Saya lihat mata saya masih.
Oh, you can't see very well. Okay, tidak masalah. Aku pria tampan. Salam kenal. Okay, dah. What a beautiful man. He was telling me that he can't see very well. So I said to him, oh, well, trust me, I'm a very handsome man. Back on track. What was I saying? Hold the line, please, caller. Oh my God. I just went to the video replay to figure out what I was talking about. I had literally had the phrase magical moments come out of my mouth, and then I meet that guy. If you've got your itinerary planned up the wazoo, and believe me, a lot of people's itineraries have them sitting in a car for a long time, you just don't get moments like that. But it's not just moments like that. And I would say, anyone who's done any amount of travel, regardless of whether you did hyper planning or not, the memories that stay with you aren't usually the ones that you planned. For me, they are just moments that happen, moments in time, moments never to be repeated, moments that you could tell people about, but they're not going to get to experience that for themselves. Time, place, circumstance. So, what's that alternative to the over planning? Is it the loosey-goosey that I do, which is I know when I'm arriving and I know when I'm leaving, and what happens in the middle is a mystery that will unfold to me? I get that not everybody's comfortable with that. And I get that on a short trip, 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, you probably do want some markers in there so you know some of the things are going to happen. But if you are millennial or Gen Z, imagine this concept. Imagine if you built into your itinerary a phone-free day or a technology-free day, or you just choose a point on the map and you say, we're going there today, and whatever happens, happens. If there are people there, that means there's food there. That means there's some infrastructure there. So if you get hungry, you're gonna be able to get food. Is it gonna be Western food if that's your jam? Probably not. But if you're hungry and someone's selling food, even if you don't speak the language, trust me, you guys will sort it out. So what are other ways that you could have a happy medium between the plan everything and the plan nothing? What if it was just 50% of days are planned, 50% of days are not planned? Or one thing that I often suggest to people online, because whether you're aware or not, on the forum on Reddit for Bali or Bali travel, there are two of those, people post their itineraries and ask people to critique it in a helpful, friendly way. And one thing I'm often suggesting to people, let's say they've got 10 days in Bali and they've planned the first 2 days here, the next 3 days there, the next 3 days there, and they're saying, not sure what I should do in the last 2 days. I suggest to them, leave it free. One of the places you visit, you may love it and you may wish that you spent more time there and you can go back there. Or you can stay there longer and just shunt the rest of your trip along. By doing these kinds of things, you really can have a far more enjoyable holiday. And by doing these kinds of things, you can discover places that nobody else knows about. What would be an example of that? Oh, I know. Imagine discovering a beautiful walk surrounded by flowers, banana trees, more flowers, vegetables growing, stands of exotic trees, a little irrigation system beside the path, the sounds of water flowing, and not another tourist in sight. So, where am I? I am near, not in, but near a village with a name that needs a consonant because I'm having a lot of trouble saying it. Tingan. Tingan. I'm improving. Where is Tingan? It is about 45 minutes scooter ride southeast of Ubud and probably a similar riding distance northeast of Sanur. The village itself, Tingan, is famous for blacksmiths who make predominantly gongs and instruments for gamelan, but also some of them are making ceremonial knives or knives and cutting equipment for farming, such as scythes for harvesting rice. I don't know if you do use a scythe for harvesting rice. More evidence that you shouldn't just trust what you read on the internet. At a crossroads. Incidentally, that's the coast there, the nearest beach with a name that anyone might recognize is either Klotok if you're a surfer or Keramas. There's a big resort there called Commune. Given the options, it's getting hot. I'm going to take the shady option. Now it could be that you're thinking, yeah, whatever, dude. You were just speaking Indonesian to a guy. Wandering in the middle of nowhere, that's a whole lot easier for you. Well, I really only started learning just word by word Indonesian, I'm gonna say, December 2025. I started off with flashcards, 100 words. I thought that was going to take me longer than it did. I don't necessarily have a brain for language. I think it actually depends on the language, and Bahasa Indonesia is a pretty easy one as they go. I've not spent any time on grammar. I know that my pronunciation or emphasis on certain syllables is wrong, but I get my point across. I now have probably about 500 words, but smiling, eye contact, body language, that is an international language. Probably a good idea to look in. Oh my goodness, look at this. That's just beautiful. The roofs of the village houses, the marigolds growing in the foreground, the mountains in the background, stands of palm trees, the sounds of gamelan on the wind, rice terraces. Eat your heart out, Ubud Campuhan Ridge Walk. And I'll say it again, not a single tourist in sight. I tell you what though, it's getting hot. 5 minutes past 1, that's food time. In a perfect world, this walk that I've embarked on will loop back to a main road, and there'll be other people who are hungry as well, and that there'll be places to get some food. I've made it back to some form of civilization. This is not the road that I entered on. We will... Permisi, Pak. Jalan besar. Larus! Sempurna. This is the way to the big road.
Boleh direkam itu pukul 1-1.
Aku bisa?
Bisa sendiri.
Bisa?
Ya. Bisa.
Oh.
Pukul di situ 1-1.
Okay. Bisa.
Bisa.
Bisa. Okay. I've just wandered in here, and the ladies allow me to do. Oh.
Ini lagi dipukul.
Oh. Oh, that is cool. I know a lot of people talk about frequencies. Something made me feel really good inside when I hit those gongs. I've just wandered in here off the road. Haven't found food yet. There's a very helpful lady who I just asked, can I have a look around? Can I record some video? And she's like, yeah, man, and hands me one of these. So these guys are making the gongs and other traditional instruments. But so here we have other types of gongs and other instruments for gamelan. I can smell the paint, so everything's new. Not sure what these little birds are so excited about. Oh, there's a nest up there in the corner, it seems. Oh, this place goes on forever. Now that I'm here and I've got this in my hand, I'd love to hit them all, but I don't want to be annoying, nor do I want to be disrespectful. Makasih banyak, Bu.
Ya, ya.
Oh, hello, little kucing.
Ya.
Sleeping, even though the bule is banging the bong. Okay. Salam kenal, Bu.
Ya, ya.
Bye-bye.
Ya.
Oh, Bu. Saya lapar. Makan
Makan
this.
boleh di sini ada dagang di selatan.
Aha.
Ya. Di warung Madura. Roti makan roti.
Makan roti.
Ini warung Madura nih.
Okay.
Ya, ya.
Oh, dekat.
Ya,
Oh, dekat.
Ini, ya, sini dah masuk ke ya sana.
Easy.
Ya.
Thank you, Bu.
Ya. Terima kasih.
Bye-bye. Slight change of plan. I felt like hot food and I couldn't find any hot food on the road that went through the village. So I've decided to head to Samarapura, which is the closest big place. And to get there, I took a jalan tikus, which means a secret way. Tikus, jalan is a road or a street, and tikus is a mouse. But this secret way turned out to be so secret that I came to a buntu, which means dead end. I only just learnt that word today, actually. I was riding around the back streets of told you it needs a consonant, Tingan village, and there were many buntu, and I was going to take a little corner, and a man on the corner said buntu, and I was confusing it with a word I know, bantu, meaning to help, and thought he was saying, can I help you? But in the end, he taught me a new word, buntu, dead end. So I've come to a buntu, but there's a silver lining. A silver lining I wouldn't have found if I'd put some coordinates into Google Maps. Instead, I ignored the technology like some Gen X kid and thought, it's this general direction, and why take the main road when you can take the Jalan Tikus? It was a lovely ride to this buntu, and it would be an equally lovely walk too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to strap the camera to my chest, and I'm going to ride back the way I came, let you see a little bit of what could also be a walk. I'll put the head of the trail, if you will, in the video description. So if you're ever passing through Tingan village, you could do one of these walks too. Look, I'll just give you the greatest hits of the route back so that we're not turning this video into a moto vlog. But if you want the long version, I will put a link to that in the video description as well. Let's go. Kasih banyak, Bu. I find myself at like Eatery. It's probably my 7th or 8th visit here over time. It's owned by a Bali husband and wife, and the wife, Inda, she spent a year living in Melbourne, so she knows cafe culture, she knows coffee. And what I really like about this place is they put a modern spin on traditional Indonesian or Balinese foods. For example, I have ordered the ayam sambal mata. Ayam sambal mata is usually a piece of chicken with the sambal mata over the top of that. What they do here is individual little pieces of chicken with this lovely crispy coating with the sambal mata on top. I'm washing it down with a taro matcha, another modern twist on a traditional Balinese or Indonesian thing. So taro, a root vegetable, has been used for making drinks in Indonesia and Bali for a long time. That's the purple component. And matcha is the, you know, modern coffee shop twist on it. Okay, let me finish this and I'll find a little track somewhere to wrap this rant up and maybe give you some food for thought. At the top of the episode, I mentioned millennials and Gen Z, but I haven't mentioned social media. It's that same snake eating its tail thing. Instead of top 10 Google results or lazy top 10 must-visit destination blog posts, it's people searching for a destination and seeing the same locations that have been captured via photo or video over and over again, and people adding them to their bucket list for their holiday to get those same photos and videos for themselves. Prior to the internet and smartphones, it just wasn't possible to overplan your travel. But for a lot of people now, that's becoming the default travel style. So, what's the alternative? Well, first, just know that top 10 lists, top 10 search results, and those photos that you see in your social media feed, at best, they're just lazy and sometimes misguided. And at worst, you end up at places that are so overrun with tourists that it spoils the very thing that made the place amazing in the first place. If you're not ready to go all loosey-goosey gonzo like I do, try a 50-50 approach. Plan half your days, leave the other half for whatever happens. Or at the very least, just leave the last 2 days. That way, if you fall in love with a place or an experience, you can either extend your stay there or revisit it. Start talking to humans again. Ask locals. If you get downtime, where do you like to go? What places do you like to visit? What experiences do you like to have? It could turn out that they are simple, humble places, simple, humble experiences, and that's where the beauty lies, in its simplicity. Start talking to your fellow travelers. Strike up a conversation with that person next to you while you're eating, or that person staying at your accommodation, and say, hey, what did you guys do today and how was it? Because firsthand, in the moment right now, feedback about a place is going to be the most accurate representation of it that you're going to get. Try a tech-free day. See how far you get. See where you end up without the safety net of a smartphone. And remember, you don't need language. Eye contact, facial expressions, body language, hand gestures will get you further and deeper into a culture than any app and the inconvenience and interruption of pulling out a phone ever can. By doing this, you might discover amazing places, amazing experiences that nobody else knows about. And you're the only one there, not a tourist in sight. And trust me, you will have a far more enjoyable holiday and create so many more memories by just allowing the mystery to unfold, by allowing random stuff to happen. Embrace some unknown, because that's where the magic lives.